Hi everyone, welcome back on Study Room. So, continuing our chapter number 2 of Geography, Physical Features of India, we will be starting our next part, which is major physiographic divisions. Okay, physiographic means physical geography of any area is called physiographic. For example, what its range, what its size, what its length, okay, what is the exact base and reason for it. Okay, so physiographic, the word physiographic means physical geography. Okay, physical geography of any landmass is called physiographic. So now we will understand what are the major reasons of physiographic divisions. Okay, so India have basically grouped under the following physiographic divisions. Okay, and these divisions are: first, the Himalayan mountains, the northern plains, peninsular plateau, the Indian desert, the coastal plains, and the island. We will be studying about each of them individually in detail and the reason for them and all the physiographic details. Okay. So if I have to make it easy for you, what is a physiographic detail? Let's take an example of a bottle. Okay. So supposedly if this is a bottle, so what is the size of this bottle? How long the bottle is? What is the length of it? What is the breadth of it? And what is the reason this bottle have been placed? Okay, breadth of it. What is the reason this bottle have been placed? What is its mass? So everything comes under um, physical geography, okay, which is known as physio uh, physio uh, physiographic. Okay, physiographic. Okay. So we will be studying about the Himalayan mountains first, the Great Himalayas. Very first thing is Himalayans, you have to just remember this all the time. This term, geologically young. Okay. They are young and structurally old. Okay. They are geologically young mountains. The reason to call the Himalayans as young mountains is because their age is just between 10 to 25 million years. Okay, so yes, for humans it seems like, oh, they're very very old, but for mountains they're still very very young. Okay, also they are known as geologically young mountains because they have steeper slopes and deeper valleys. Okay, so Himalayas are geologically young mountains and they're structurally fold. Okay, means the structure is a folding structure. Okay, so they're geologically young and structurally fold mountains is very very important terms for you. Okay, now where they are placed, let's refer to the example of bottle. Where they are placed, they have northern borders of India. We only see Himalayas in northern side of India. Okay, um, and their ranges run from Indus in west to Brahmaputra. It's about their range are this starts from Indus Valley to Brahmaputra Valley in east. Okay, and the distance that they cover is 24 um 2400 kilometer. Okay, so let's make it easy for you all. They are geologically young and structurally fold, and their area is 2400 kilometer, and their their west side are they have they're connected to Indus, and west is from west they're connected to Brahmaputra. Okay, now their width, we'll talk about their width. Okay, means how thick or thin they are. Their width varies from 400 kilometer, means 400 kilometer in Kashmir, to 150 kilometer in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, so if imagining this as India, so in Kashmir it's 400 kilometer there with, and in Arunachal Pradesh it goes up to 150 kilometer. Okay, and their altitude variations are great in eastern half and those of western half. Okay, so in the eastern half means in Arunachal Pradesh side, Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, all the seven sisters that we have here, they in those areas, Himalayas have great variation of altitude than in the western side. Okay. Now we have very beautiful image of the great Himalayas where you can see the snow and sky and the real beauty. Now you get why it is called the Great Himalayas. Now we'll talk about the longitudinal division of the Himalayas, how long they are divided. Okay, so in three parallel ranges through which we understand their longitudinal division. Okay, three parallel ranges to understand the longitudinal extent with the valleys lies in between. Okay, so let me draw it for you. These are first Himadri. It is the topmost part or topmost area, and next we have Himachal. Himachal is at very good altitude, but it's called Lesser Himalayas. And third is the foothill. Okay, it's the foothill which is known as Shivaliks. Okay, so these are three parallel ranges of longitudinal extent. This is called parallel ranges because if we see on map. So now I understand this is not a very beautiful map, but I hope I can make you understand through this. Uh, Sorry. So yes. So okay. So in this range, the topmost range, okay, it's Himadri, and next range, this part, these ranges are called Himachal, and then lower the part is called Shivalik. Okay, so the figure is also being given on your books as well, page number 9. Now, so we will understand each of them in detail about Himadri, Lesser Himalayas or Himachal, and Shivalik. First is we'll talk about the Great or Inner Himalayas, Himadri. Okay, so the eventually the topmost part is it's what we called as Great, and it's also known as Inner Himalayas. Okay, so it is the northernmost and the most continuous range of Himalayas. Yes, we understand that because it's the topmost part and of loftiest peak with average height of 6,000 meters, and their height is um, 6,000 meters from the ground level or the or from yes from the foothills from Shivalik. Okay, and it is the most prominent peak. Yes, we understand it is the most prominent peak and asymmetrical in nature. So it, for example, as you can see in this picture, it's not it's like it's the peak, right? As you can see it like that, but it's sometimes it's not symmetrical. That these folds are, that's why they are called as asymmetrical in nature, because sometimes the peak is like this, sometimes the peak has like different shape. Okay, so that is the reason we call it asymmetrical folds. Okay, and the core part, the internal part of Himalayas, it's made up is composed of granite. Okay, so the resource that has been used to for Himalayas is granite, and it is mostly it's snow covered. Okay, mostly snow covered, and it's that's why it is source of several glaciers, because it is covered with snow, and when it melts, that's why it turns out to be snow of that it turns out to be source for several glaciers. All right. Now, next we'll study about Lesser Himalayas or Himachal, means the second range, our second range. Okay, it lies to the south of Himadri. Yes, for this is Himadri, and this is the north of Himadri. This is the south of Himadri. So this is where this range lies. Okay, Himachal, and it is the most rugged mountain system, means it has been used on several platforms. As we know, Himachal is a proper state where people live, that's why it's called most rugged mountain system, and it is mainly composed of highly compressed and altered rocks. Okay, which means it does not have proper source in it, and that's why it is called rugged, because it is made up of various different kind of rocks. Okay, so there is not some single one, and many mostly it is made with altered rocks. Okay, so altered rock are basically which does not have a same type of formation. Okay, so these are altered form. It is, that's why we call it is composed of composed of highly compressed and altered form, because it has plateaus, it has mountains. Okay, that is the reason it's called rugged as well. Okay, next we'll talk about its graphic features. And so the height is 3,700. In total it is 6,000. Oh, I hope you remember that. Oh, all right. So let's understand it. So the height varies between 3,700 to 4,500 meters. In total, it is 6,000. And just for Himachal or Lesser Himalayas, it's 3,700 to 4,500 meters. Okay, meters. I'm sorry, meters. Yes. And the width is 50 kilometers. So width of the mountain of a mountain here is almost around 50 kilometer. And now we'll study about few important ranges of Himachal, and I'm sure you must have heard the names of most of the places. Okay, so the longest and the most important ranges are Pir Panjal, Duladhar, and Mahabharat range. Okay, these are few important ranges there, and it lies on the Kashmir, Kangra, and Kullu Valley in Himachal Pradesh. Okay, so these are the ranges in which these in which these the particular repeating again. So these are the ranges where these are the areas where this particular range lies. Okay, so in Himachal Pradesh. Now, these ranges are also famous hill station. I'm sure you all have heard the name of Kulu Manali or Shimla. Okay, so these are the famous hill station and the ranges of this area. Okay. Next, we will talk about Shivalik, means the outermost range, which is almost on the extended towards Himalayas. Okay, so it is the outermost range of Himalayas, extended over the width of 10 kilometer. Okay, 10 to 15 kilometer. It's the width. Okay, from Himalayas, and the height is 900 to 1100 meters. Okay, it would be definitely less because it's on the lower verge, it's on the lower sides. Okay, now this is the source of Shivalik ranges. Sediments includes gravel and alluvium. Okay, so it is composed of these two sediments which were brought by river from the main Himalaya ranges. Okay, why? Because obviously it will be brought by rivers, because this is the lower part where it connects with river. Okay, so that is why Himachal and Shivalik are known as dunes. So that's why we call Dehradun, Kotli Dune, Patli Dune. Okay, so the areas which like slightly merge, which have ranges of Himachal as well and Shivalik as well, are known as dunes. Okay, where the merging of both the ranges happen, it's where we call it as dunes. Okay, so this was about Shivalik range. Now we'll study the division of Himalayas first, east to west to east. Okay, how they are divided. First, Punjab Himalayas. So Punjab Himalayas lie between Indus and Satluj River. Okay, so it lies between Indus and Satluj River, and it's regionally known as Kashmir and Himachal Himalayas from west to east, because they cover these regions. Okay, Himachal and Kashmir. Next, we have Kumaon Himalayas. Himalayas are the part of Himalayas that are lying between Satluj and Kali River. Now we have Satluj and Kali River. So ranges between them is called Kumaon Himalayas. Third are Nepal Himalayas. Nepal Himalayas lie between Kali to Tista. Okay, so see, we are moving towards eastern side. Okay, we started from Indus, which is in the west. So now you see we are moving towards the eastern side. So in the eastern part, it was Indus River, and then we moved to Indus to Satluj, and then Satluj to Kali, and then Kali to Tista. Now we have arrived in the eastern side, which is here Assam Himalayas. So it is from between Tista to Dihang River. Okay, so from Tista to Dihang River. So that's how the division is from west to east. Next we'll see about more details of it. Purvanchal or Eastern Himalayas. So Purvanchal of Eastern Himalayas are the eastern range. They connect with the boundary by Brahmaputra. Okay, so they connect with the boundary with Brahmaputra, and they are mostly so here the Purvanchal Himalayas are quite different because they are composed of strong sandstones, which are sedimentary rocks covered with dense forest. Okay, so Purvanchal Himalayas, the question for Purvanchal Himalayas can be come in different section because they are different. Okay, and the reason is first their boundary is marked by Brahmaputra. Second, they're composed of strong sandstones, which are sedimentary rocks, which are covered with dense forest. Third, it is comprises of so now the hills that we have is Meso Hills, Patkai Hills, Naga Hills, Manipur Hills. So these are the hills which are part of Purvanchal Himalayas. Next, we'll talk about the highest peaks of Himalayas, means the ranges. Highest peak is, of course, everybody know it's Mount Everest, which is in Nepal, and the height is 8,848 meters. Next is Kanchenjunga, which is in India, and its height is 8,598. Then Makalu, Dhulagiri, Nanga Parbat, Annapurna, Danda Devi, Kemat, Namcha Barwa, Gurla, Mahandata. So these are very, very important ranges because some of the places you must have also heard as the sacred places. Okay, for example, Anu Devi, Nanda Devi, Kemat. So these are also sacred places, religious places. Okay, so these were some of the highest peaks of Himachal. Let's move towards studying second division. Okay, second division of our now we will be let's move towards studying second division of physiographic uh, features. Okay, this is our second division of physiographic divisions. Okay, which is the northern plains. We will study about the northern plains and the Peninsular Plateau. So let's start with the northern plains. Okay, so northern plains means it's the plain area or the land area which does not consist mountains and anything. Are the plain area which is formed by three major rivers, and these rivers are Indus, Ganga, and Brahmaputra, along with their small tributaries. Okay, small. I hope you understand what are tributaries. So for example, this is a proper river. So it's flow from um, going to a different area and then making different route. So these little rivers are known as tributaries. Okay, and this is formed of alluvial soil, obviously because it is around you know it has a lot of moisture, and that's why it is formed of alluvial soil. The vast basin lying at the foothills of Himalayas is deposit of alluvium. Okay, because it is around river, so a lot of alluvium creates around the river. Okay, and it has been lying for over millions of years now. Next, we'll talk about is physiographic features. its physical features, its area. The area of northern plains are 7 lakh square kilometer. The area that northern plains cover are 7 lakh square kilometer. Okay, and it is 2,400 kilometer long, and breadth is 240 to 320 kilometer. Okay, so this is about physical features. Now, we'll see more what's there in northern plains. So, northern plains are densely populated, obviously, because people prefer living into plains. So, that's why it is densely populated. And agricultural productivity is obviously rich there because of the soil cover. Because of the rich soil cover, the agricultural productivity in the northern side, in northern plains, is very, very high. And there are also adequate supply of water through the three major rivers and their tributaries. And it is a favorable climate. Okay, so the rivers coming from north mountain are involved in um depositional work. Depositional work means the layer get deposition. For example, this is this is the part where all the soil is. So due to tributaries or anything, river flow comes, okay, and with the wave of water, it takes all the upper layer, okay, and then then the layer, same layer maybe, or the layer of the soil reaches to a different place. Okay, so this is called depositional work, means the movement of layers. Okay, next is riverine island. Riverine island means obviously because it is formed by slow and down velocity of rivers, because rivers are flowy in slow here, because in mountain regions they're coming from up, but here they are just flowing, so it's slow and down. The velocity level of rivers are slow here, and it has gentle slope. That's why it is riverine island. Third, hits the river split into number of channels. Okay, that they split into various number of channels due to deposition of silt, forming distributaries. So this is exactly the same depositional work what we understand here. So silt is basically the soil, which is the leftover soil along the river. Okay, so it's called silt. Okay, for example, this is a land, and it has all the silt. Different type of soil is there, and so due to the passing of river, this formed disposition and distributary, means this soil will flow from water and will go somewhere else and make it a space. Okay, so this is the river split number of channels. That is also a reason of being agriculturally rich. Now we'll there are total three sections of northern plains that we understand. The first section is the Punjab Plain. Okay, so it's divided into three parts. First is the Punjab Plain, the Ganga Plain, and the Brahmaputra Plain. Punjab Plain is formed by Indus tributaries. So they differ because of their source of rivers. So Punjab Plain have Indus and its tributaries. Okay, and this is a section where plain is dominated by Doab. Okay, Doab is a plain which is a land between two rivers is called Doab. For example, there are two rivers flowing. So this place is called as Doab. Okay, and this is the most fertile place for agriculture. The agriculture is very, very rich in this area. So most of the Punjab is like that. That's why agriculture is very rich in Punjab, because of Doab. Okay. Second is the Ganga Plain. Ganga Plain extend over Ghaggar and Tista. Ghaggar and it's Ganga and Tista River. Okay, and so it includes Haryana, Delhi, UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, and part of West Bengal. So this is Ganga Plains. Third is Brahmaputra Plain. Brahmaputra Plain mainly stretches across Assam. Now we have moved towards the towards eastern sides. Okay, so first is Punjab Plain. I'm sorry. First is Punjab Plain. Second is Ganga Plain. Third is Brahmaputra Plain. Okay, so they're divided on basis of location and rivers. Next, we'll talk about division of plains on the basis of relief features. Okay, now plains are also further divided for better understanding. Okay, northern plains are not flat. It does not mean that this land is the northern plain. The vast plain are diverse and they are further divided into four regions. Okay, so we'll understand about these four regions where these northern plains are divided. Okay, so first is um Bhahar. Repeat. So the first is Bhabar. Okay, Bhabar are the rivers which are descending from the mountain deposit. Means so in the Bhabar plain, it is descending from the mountain deposit pebbles. Okay, so which means is a mountain, okay, and it is descending from mountain deposit pebbles. It's a narrow belt. It's a very narrow belt of width 16 to 8 to 16 kilometer and parallel to Shivalik slope. It is parallel to Shivalik slope. Okay, for example, this is Shivalik range. It is lower than that. Okay, and okay, so just after Shivalik, you can say Bhabar ranges come. After Bhabar, it's Terai. Okay, now this was like till Bhabar area. Lower than Bhabar is Terai. So Terai is next to Bhabar. Okay, for example, this is our mountain. This is Shivalik range. This is where the little, like where you're going down that part, it's Bhabar, and then it's Terai. Terai is next to Bhabar. It's very, very marshy land with lots of wildlife and forest. Okay, so that's Terai. Next, we have Bhangar. Okay. Next, we have next part is called Bhangar. Okay. Bhangar. Why Bhangar? Because it's largest part. Okay, and it's the most plain area as you can see in this picture. It's largest part and it lies above flood plains. Okay, so for example, this is the water level. This is water and it lies above the flood plain. So of the river, and it is a terrace like features and soil. Uh, they deposit a calculus called kankad. Okay, so we found a lot of kankars in Bhangar plain. Next we have Kadar. Kadar is the newer or the younger deposit where many people live. It's after um, the flood plain. Okay, so the chances of uh, this area being affected by flood is very, very high. That's why it is renewed every year, and it has been made ideal for intensive agriculture. Okay, so this is Khadar plains as part of northern plains. Our next part of the same second topic is Peninsular Plateau. Okay, Peninsular Plateau, basically Peninsular Plateau is this region where you can see the triangle part, the Gondwana land region, the oldest region. It's called Peninsular Plateau, and it is tableland composed of old crystalline, igneous, and metamorphic rock. It is called tableland because it is composed of these three different kind of old resources, which are crystalline, igneous, and metamorphic rock. Okay, and this was formed due to breaking and drifting of Gondwana land. So we used to have different countries here. If you remember in the previous slide, we have studied it. So this has been formed after breaking of all the countries that has been uh, part of Gondwana land earlier. Okay, so we study Peninsular Plateau in broadly dividing two areas. So first is Central Highland, okay, the central part, and the second is Deccan Plateau, means the part, the core part of the plateau. So we'll start with the Central Highlands first. Okay, so Central Highlands lies to the north of Narmada River. So they are around Narmada River, covering a major part of Malwa Plateau. Okay, so around Maharashtra, from central it covers this range covers. Okay, It includes Vidyan Range. Okay, Vidyan Range is bound by Satpura Range on south and Aravali Range on east. So these are the basically names of different ranges it is captured by. It gradually merges with sandy and rocky desert of Rajasthan. Okay, so if I have to draw it in the yes, so this, for example, this is the central part, and it includes Satpura Range on south. Okay, in the south part it is Satpura Range. Okay, and in the northeast part, northwest part, it's Aravali Range here. Okay, that's why they merge into Rajasthan, rocky deserts of Rajasthan. Okay. Rivers flowing from southwest to northeast are Chambal, Sindh, Betwa, and Ken. These are the four rivers which are flowing in this area. Okay, and eastward extension of plateau. Now we'll talk about the eastward extension of plateaus are locally known as Bundelkhand. Okay, you must have heard this place is a very famous place. So one Bundelkhand is famous because it is the most east side of this particular central highland, okay, or Begal Khand. The eastern extension also includes Chota Nagpur Plateau, drained by Damodar River. Next, about the central highlight is, see, these are the areas which it covers. Okay, so this is the eastern part, Bundelkhand part, and all the rivers from here that it covers. Okay, next we'll study about the Deccan Plateau. Okay, Deccan Plateau is a triangular landmass, very simple for us to understand. It's a triangular landmass that lies to the south of the river Narmada. Okay, in the south side we have river Narmada. It is surrounded by Satpura Range in north and Madhva Kimor Hills and Maikal Range in east. So these are the names of different hills it is surrounded by. The higher in the west slopes are gently eastward, so it's like it's towards like this. Okay, so it has this kind of physical feature here. The Deccan Plateau is the most visible in the northeast, okay, because it is known as Meghalaya, Khabri, Angol Plateau, and northern Chakar Hills. Okay, so in Chota Nagpur region is also there. Yes, so the eastern sides, the ranges are very visible. Okay, so the three prominent ranges from west to it's are Garo, Khasi, and Jaintia hills. These are names of various hills which you can only understand by placing them into maps. Okay, so I hope you will do that because it's very interesting. Okay. Next, the distant feature. Now, the next feature of Peninsular Plateau is the black soil, which is very important. That's why the area is known as Deccan Trap because of the kind of soil it has. Okay. The western and the eastern Ghat are surrounds the Deccan Plateau on the west and east, respectively. Okay, so we have Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats, which surrounds uh, this particular plateau. Okay, so this is called Deccan Trap because of its black soil. As we can see, we do not get ice here or glaciers here because of the kind of soil it has. Yes, so this is for mapping. This is the Chota Nagpur region, very important. Okay, this is the Chota Nagpur region, Malwa, and the Deccan Plateau. Malwa comes in the central highlands, and Deccan Plateau is a part of Deccan. Now, we have studied about ghats in plateau region. Now, what is the difference between eastern and the western ghats? Okay, so eastern ghats are continuously be crossed throughout the passes only. They are discontinuous and irregular, means the pathway of Western Ghat is very clear because of the continuous. and this is discontinuous because they are being draining into the Bay of Bengal, uh, due to which these particular range is discontinuous. Okay, so there are different ranges which passes through Eastern Ghats. The height of Western Ghats is 900 to 1600 meters, where every average height of Eastern Ghat is just 600 meters. Okay, the orographic rain mostly in summer due to the summer monsoon. In the Western Ghat, we see more summer monsoon. Western Ghats, as in the area of Rajasthan, Gujarat, okay. And in the northeastern monsoon, the rainfall is mostly in winter. So there's a major difference between these two, okay. Yes, let's study what are more differences of Western and Eastern Ghats. Okay, so now we'll talk about the difference of source. Their source are mainly large rivers like Godavari, Krishna, and Kaveri, and no big river originate from this range. Okay, so in the eastern side of the country, eastern part, this is the western part, there is no as such river. Okay, highest peak include Naimudi and Doba Beta, and in the eastern side it's called Mahendragiri. Is the highest peak, and other like Shivaroy Hills and Javadi Hills are located in the south eastern part of Eastern Ghats. Okay, these are basically like comes under very south. Yes, so yes, now you can see the eastern and the western Ghats. See, this is the part, the orange one, which is the western Ghat, and this is the part which is the eastern Ghat. Okay, so these areas are part of eastern and western Ghats. In middle, it is Deccan Plateau, and here it is central highlands. Okay, so I hope it is clear to you now. I hope it is more clear to you now. Next, we will discuss about our next physiographic divisions, which are Indian desert, coastal plains, and the island. Okay, so how deserts, coastal plains, and islands are different from each other. Let's start. First, we'll talk about the Indian desert. Okay, so Indian desert lies towards Aravalli Hills. Okay, it is towards um, the I'm making Peninsular Plateau. So around these are the ranges of Aravalli hills. Okay, the Indian desert lies toward Aravalli ranges, and it is undulating topography covered with sand dunes. We undulating means it does not have proper, because it is made up of sand dune and it is covered with sand dunes. That's why the topography is of land, and it is undulating means you cannot say it's plain, you cannot say it's mountainous. Okay, so it's undulating, it's constantly shifting. Okay, rainfall, it's below 150 per year. So sometimes streams appears in rainy season, and Luni is the only river in this area. Okay, in this proper region. Okay, sometimes in the desert you can see water streams during rainfall, but that's very rare. That's why the climate is arid and the vegetation is low here. Okay, so this is about Indian deserts. Yes, that's how it's look like. See how undulating it is. So somewhere it's plain, somewhere it's mountainous. Okay, so you can't. Okay, trapping the footsteps. I think this is a mountainous region. What do you think? Is it mountainous or it is plain? Okay. Next, about the birchans. Birchans are crescent shaped dunes. Okay, as you can see from this is a kind of a crescent shaped dunes which are very large in areas, and these are present near Indo-Pakistan boundaries. Okay, they are prominent in Indo-Pakistan boundary. Okay, so this was about the Indian deserts. Now, second physiographic division is coastal plains. Okay, so coastal plains are basically, again, it's in coastal plains are very extreme to eastern and western Ghat, where they collide with the water. Okay, they collide with all the water in this area, Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. Okay, so coastal strips are borderline of Peninsular Plateau. They are borderline. Okay, of Peninsular Plateau of Arabian Sea on the west and Bay of Bengal on the east. Okay, so it includes mostly three sections only. It has Konkan coast in north. Okay, in Mumbai area, it's Konkan coast and Kannad plain in central stretch and Malabar coast in the south. We'll map it. Don't worry. So then you'll understand it. Eastern coast now it's further divided into two parts, which is Northern Sikar or and Coromandel coast. Okay, so Northern Sikar in north and Coromandel coast in south. Yes. So now, in the coastal plains, eastern coast have extensive delta. Okay, delta means a basically a triangle which is formed by large rivers. For example, this is one river flowing, this is second river flowing and merging. This is third river flowing. Right. So delta is basically this is called delta where I'm writing D. Okay, a place where more than two or more than two rivers meet, and this land is called delta. Okay, so eastern coast have extensive the deltas. There are many deltas in eastern coast. It's from the rivers Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, and Kaveri to these rivers. Okay, delta is formed by creation of deposition of created by deposition of sediments by the rivers. Okay, so whatever sediments the rivers uh, left in this land, the and in that area a delta is formed. Okay, lake Chilika is the largest saltwater lake in India, found in Odisha. Okay, so this is a factual check for you. Lake Chilika is a saltwater lake, and it is in Odisha. Okay, so let's understand it through map. Coastal plains, if you can see, are like very attached to boundaries. Okay, and it's Mal here we can see in the eastern part it's Malabar coast, right? Malabar coast to the north side, and in the Malabar coast in the sorry in the west side, west south, and in east south we have Coromandel coast. Okay, so this was about coastal plains. Now our next and last division of physiographic are islands. We'll talk about islands, and we have two major islands in our country. One is Lakshadweep, second is Andaman and Nicobar Island. So we'll talk about both of them. First, we have Lakshadweep Island. Lakshadweep Island, it's in Arabian Sea and it is close to Kerala. Okay, it is composed of small coral islands. Means this is like it has lots of small islands, and these all make part of Lakshadweep Island. Okay, and it covers a small area of 32 square kilometer as well. So little area of 32 square kilometer. They were early, the names were different, so they were early known as different. So they all these lands have different names. Laccadive, Minicoy, Amendive, and then later they all were renamed as in Lakshadweep in 1973. Okay, so earlier their names were different. Now, Kavarati Island is the administrative headquarter of Lakshadweep. Among this, all the islands, there is one island called Kavarati. Of course, these are very small islands. Together, they are called Lakshadweep, but they have separate names as well. Okay, because they're different of land, right? So this is, for example, let's take it as Karavati Island, which is the administrative headquarter of Lakshadweep. The uninhabited Piti Island, which is uninhabited, has a bird sanctuary. So this island has a bird sanctuary as well. So you can see here the location and how Lakshadweep Island is placed. Right. So see there are different island that together known as Lakshadweep Island, which are like most close to Kerala. Okay. Now, the second island we have are Andaman and Nicobar Island. Okay, Andaman and Nicobar Islands are elongated chain of islands, means there are like chains type structure, um, elongated chains of island. So they are extending from north to east. You see, a Lakshadweep is this place like this, right? But Andaman and Nicobar are like logs, okay, and they're located in Bay of Bengal. So the group of island is divided into Andaman and Nicobar in the north, and Andaman in the south, and um, Nicobar in the south, and Andaman in the north. So the area, the island which is in northern part uh, are called Andaman, and the lower part are called Nicobar. Okay, so we'll clearly notice that in our upcoming slide through an image. Okay, these are elevated portions of submarine mountains. So Andaman also have mountains, submarine mountains. They are elevated portions, means they have little higher altitude. Okay, and they lie close to equator and experience equatorial climate with thick forest cover. So they experience the equatorial climate. Equatorial is basically center of earth. Equator is center of earth. So Zanzibar is somewhere part of like equatorial region. So it experience equatorial climate change, and it has thick forest cover. Yes, so here we have. So see, it's not Andaman, not Middle Andaman, Lower Andaman, and this part it's Andaman, and this part is together called Nicobar. If you see together, uh, they are known as Andaman and Nicobar, but they have again like Lakshadweep, they have their separate names as well. Coming up is a very interesting fact for you all. So, do you know the India's only active volcano? There's one active volcano in India, which is found on Island in Andaman and Nicobar group of islands. Okay, so this is an active volcano which is found near Andaman and Nicobar Island. Next up, we have questions as revision of what we've did in the previous slide. So, first question is, what are the Bhabar and Tirai? Think a little. I hope you remember this. Let me revise you. Bhabar and Terai are the regions of northern plain. So Bhabar is basically it's basically after the Shivalik range. After the Shivalik range, it's Bhabar, okay, which is descending from mountains. The mountains are descending, and it has range of 8 to 16 kilometer, and all the streams disappear from here. Okay, so all the streams coming from mountain disappear in this area. Okay, whereas Tirai is next to Bhabar. So this is area of Bhabar. So this would be Tirai. Okay, this land. Next to Bhabar is Terai, and the Terai land is very wet and marshy area. Lot of with lot of wildlife and forest are most found in Terai region. Okay, so moving on to our revision for next question, which is question number 2. What is the difference between relief of the Himalayan region and the Peninsular Plateau? So the let's make a very vivid difference for you all. Yes, so major difference is that Himalayan region have very youthful topography, means they have very youthful mountains, young mountains we call them, and they have high peaks, steeper valleys, fast flowing rivers, and the height. The major differences of height. That height is 6,000 meters, whereas height of Peninsular Plateau is just 900 meters. They have wide valleys, gently rising hills, means it does not have very youthful and very high altitude. It have gently rising hills, and it is composed of resources which are igneous and metamorphic rock. Okay, so these are major difference between Himalayan region and the Peninsular Plateau. Right. So I hope that all the physiographic region has been clear to you all.